So this is not a book review by any means. This is just showing some books that I've read in the months of April and May, so last month and this month, and what I think are good books. And I highly recommend it. I read. It's a small novel called Tinkers by Paul Harding. You can see that. And he was a Pulitzer Prize winner for this novel. And it's a small novel, but it's so good. I love the way it started. I'll just read the kind of starting sentence for you. George Washington Crosby began to hallucinate 8 days before he died. From the rented hospital bed, placed in the middle of his own living room, he saw insects running in and out of imaginary cracks in the ceiling plaster. To me, the starting of a book should draw you in, and that drew me in. I'm like, oh gosh, you know already how it's going to end. Obviously, he's going to die, this character. And it says he's hallucinating, but I was drawn in because I'm like, okay, so what happened in between those 8 days? And you're thinking it's 8 days, but he goes back, the character takes you back through years from when he was a boy growing up. And the book takes you back to his dad, and his dad sort of having a similar experience, and it all tied back together at the end. But I found it was the right balance of facts, although it's not factual, it's a fiction book, but believable stuff and then magical stuff. It just had the right balance. And what I love most about this, it's the style of writing. It was so poetic. It's like reading one long prose or poem. The writing is just so poetic. It's so lovely. I really, really, really enjoyed this book. Then after that one, I read this one from Harvey River by Lorna Goodison. And I love this one as well. And I didn't come right. I really love this one. This is a Jamaican writer. I think she now spends her time between somewhere in the US, and she teaches at University of Michigan, but she spends time in Toronto and the US. But she's a Jamaican-born writer. And I love my Caribbean writers, people. I know I may be biased, but I really do love Caribbean writing because a lot of the things I can relate to. This is a memoir, for her mother and her mom's family. So her family growing up in a parish in Jamaica called Hanover. I've never been there, don't know what it looks like, but her writing, it is so vivid. The imageries that she uses, I can almost see it, and it's just very rich. And I really, really love this book. It made me laugh. It was so funny in places, and it made me cry a lot. I felt like she was writing about my family, I guess, which is why I like it so. It's just so relatable to me, and you don't have to be Caribbean to get it, but her writing is very rich, and I really love this book. After I read this one, I thought to myself, I really need to take a break from these heavy novels, because Tinkers also deals with death, as does this, but it deals with death and hope. But then after that, I decided, what the heck, I'm gonna read, I can deal with it. And I picked up Wally Lamb's She's Come Undone. Now, this author in this book, it was recommended by the Naprika. Thanks, Stacy. This is not light stuff. And as I say, I'm not doing a book review or anything like that. I'm not analyzing and stuff like that. It deals with a girl who basically is coming of age, and her parents split up, and don't want to spoil it for anybody who wants to read it. Her parents split up, and it's just how she dealt with that, how she internalized that, and just how things and circumstances, not only around that, but around other stuff that was happening in her life, how that then shaped her life as an adult, and just shaped the choices that she made and other situations that she got herself into. You know what I liked about this? There were times it's not very predictable. Times when you're thinking, okay, that's what's going to happen next. And it just takes you for a loop, and you're like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. So I really, really love that about it. So after that, after I read those 3 books, bawled my eyes out in places, I thought, you know what? I need some like brain dead kind of reading right now. And that's the thing. If I take a break from reading, I don't really take a break from reading. I just take a break from reading certain novels. And I go on to what I call, don't take an offense if, there are people out there who love these. I like these kind of brain dead kind of reading. This is not like young adult type of stuff. And I discovered this one, Cassandra Clare. This is the Mortal Instrument series, City of Bones, and then so I think it's kind of like Twilight. I think I've never read the Twilight books, but reading the reviews, they liken it to Twilight, and then this one. And I read those 2 because I needed my brain to kind of unwind. And sometimes when I read, not with these ones, but novels like the previous ones that I showed you, I get really wrapped up and really involved in that world, and it is emotional. It's like an emotional journey for me. So I read these 2. They're okay. They're just okay. I wouldn't say, oh yeah, go out and get them. Those other 3 books, definitely recommend them. This was just for my brain dead unwinding moments. You know how people can unwind with the TV? I need to unwind with a book. Okay, so then after those 2, then, so these I got when I went to England recently. Yeah, it wasn't quite a holiday, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. And I got these 2 W.H. Smith, buy one, get one half off, or buy one, get one free. No, buy one, get one half off. And I saw these, and I thought, oh, those look like sizable reads, which is what kind of made me gravitate to them first. Game of Thrones. And then I looked at it, and it said at the bottom, now the HBO original series. Now, I don't really watch TV like that, people. So, Game of Thrones, I think I heard Splinter 24, on her Facebook page, she was talking about Game of Thrones coming on. It was like neither here nor there for me. And then I saw this, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I'll take those up. I absolutely love these. To me, it's like reading J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings series. It's not, yes, it's like that. It's not a completely different, well, it is a different world actually. It's like that. It's like if you like Lord of the Rings, if you liked reading that, you will love Game of Thrones. It's, all the battle strategies, all, the family drama that goes on in between, jealousy, love, revenge, enough gore, but it's not so graphic, I think. But so I devoured these 2, and of course I have to get the others now in the series. When you finish one of these books, you just want to go on, okay, what's happening next? What's happening next? And it's not very good for me and insomnia, because once I get really involved in a book, I don't want to go to sleep until I finish. Obviously, I've had to sleep in between, but that's how good these books were. Yes, I think that's it. So, yes. No, there's one more. So I devoured those two. And then this week, at the beginning of the week, I started reading, another Wally Lamb's I Know This Much Is True. I love this author. I love this author. I am telling you, it's the same thing that applied to the other book, where he just has some twists and turns that you never saw coming. And what I love about this, it might not be a happily ever after ending. It's a very realistic ending, but things always come right back around. And he just there's no loose ends. He just ties up everything. And that for me is the hallmark of a good book, where you're not left wondering, but what happened with that and that? Yeah, he ties up everything for you. It's about really a set of twin brothers, and one had paranoid schizophrenia and the other one didn't. And I want to say it's about how both of them dealt with it, but it really focuses on the brother who was not paranoid schizophrenic, how he dealt with it, and just why he dealt with it the way he did. But it's a lot more intriguing than that. So I cannot do a book review, because then I would just give away the whole thing. And I really do recommend this, this book, I Know This Much Is True, by Wally Lamb, for people to read. It's very, very good. And the same for the other book, She's Come Undone, by Wally Lamb. He is for therapy. Yeah, so the people in these books both underwent therapy, and it just shows how therapy does work. It is positive. I'm kind of speechless, because this book really tugged at me emotionally. I was reading, and I thought I was good, and then just one little sentence which dealt with the complexity of just the human mind, the human emotion and resilience, and I just find myself bawling. Yes, people, I get emotional over books. And I forgot, there was this one quote that kind of, I should have, there's just one quote that just summed up the whole entire book for me, and just Wally Lamb's writing, and I'm just paraphrasing now, where it says, life is not a series of isolated ponds or puddles. It's like a river that flows from the past through the present and on to the future. And that just summed up his writing this book for me, how everything in our lives is just interconnected, whether be it situation, family, decisions that we make, and how we then perceive certain things. How we perceive certain things and then represent that back to the world. That summed it up. So that was the last book that I read for this month. I think I finished it yesterday. Yesterday I finished that one, and I tell you, April and May for me, very, very good book months, very good reads, I think, and I would recommend any of these books that I showed you, except for, if you want to get it, Cassandra Clare's books. Now, for the rest of May, I think I'll be having a little downtime for the next week.